A couple months ago here on the channel, I ranked from worst to best the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and once again I will do the ranking, but this time with my friends at the DCEU. If you can't tell by looking behind me or on my shirt, I'm a fan of DC Comics. Not so much a fan of the DC Extended Universe. I just think that they got started out weak and have struggled to find their footing. So, my number 11 ranked movie in the DC Extended Universe is the movie that started it all with the DCEU, that being Man of Steel. The reason this movie starts so low, or the movie that started it all is so low, is because, well, it's a bad foundation. We have Jonathan Kent telling Clark to, be scared of who you are, and telling him, oh, don't save me, even though you can be here before they can even see you do it. The climax with multiple buildings falling with people in them, Superman breaking Zod's neck, even the people who say, oh, well, he had to. Well, I disagree. Everything about this movie, everything about every movie is a choice. So you didn't have to do that. You made a choice and they stuck with it. I will say this in some sort of defense of everything is that because of the choice and the ramifications of the choice, the number 10 movie in the ranking is Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Is justice dawning? I don't know. But what it does do is it takes one of my complaints about Man of Steel and it turns it on its head. It says, oh, the reason these buildings came down is because it's what brought Batman back to action after Superman said, oh, I don't care about these buildings. I don't care about these people. Let's just fight and bring them down. I disagree with that. I think it's a bad choice. Do I also think it's a bad choice that you kill Superman in his second appearance in the second movie in your lore? I also agree. I do think that is the case. Speaking of killing characters within your film, my number 9 ranked film in the DC Extended Universe is The Suicide Squad. So, I liked The Suicide Squad up until the fact that they killed Rick Flag. So he was one of a handful of characters that returned from Suicide Squad. And when they killed him, I turned on the film. I just I like this guy. He's a good guy, and I didn't like that they killed him. It soured me to it. An upside though, King Shark. Really big fan of King Shark in his presentation. Love Sylvester Stallone. So moving on, my number 8 ranked film in the DC Extended Universe is Suicide Squad. Do I think it's a mess? I do. It was. But again, I like Rick Flag. I think Will Smith does a good job being Will Smith, and Harley Quinn's introduction, all right, not great. It's not spectacular, but it's okay. Number 7, Wonder Woman, 84 or 1984, 1984. The movie gets a lot of grief, but personally speaking, I think it's okay. Is it spectacular, wonderful, amazing? No, but it's okay. It's better than Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad. It makes more sense, or it's not as offensive to me as Man of Steel because Wonder Woman's not doing big time bad stuff. So Wonder Woman 84, okay. Number 6 in the countdown is Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut. Reason I pick the Zack Snyder cut is because at least things within this make sense. He explains things better than the theatrical cut did, and once again, much like Batman vs. Superman did for Man of Steel, Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut, explains a complaint I had about Batman vs. Superman, that being killing Superman in his second appearance. Zack Snyder explains within the context of this film that the reason Superman had to die was to tell Apocalypse and Darkseid, hey, it's time to come back to Earth, take over. Do I love it? Do I think it's good? No. But at least Zack Snyder has the capacity to understand complaints and acknowledge them. So, my number 5 film, I know there are people who are going to say, oh, how can you? What? Oh my goodness. But my number 5 film in the DCEU countdown is Birds of Prey, and the exceedingly long, unnecessary title just to include Harley Quinn, which should have been the name of the movie. What got it to the top 5 of my movies is the cameo appearance of one hero who should have gotten more love in his life and has gotten major praise in his death, that being Shad Gaspard. If you didn't know he's in it, he is. He's in the climax. Watch the movie. Love Shad Gaspard. If you don't know who he is, Google that man. Great dude. Number 4 is the most recent release of the DC Extended Universe, that being Black Adam. It was alright. Like, it's not the best, and it's certainly not the worst. The thing that it has over Man of Steel is he's not Superman. So him going out there and being a murder machine, at least he's not the end-all, be-all, aspirational hero that shouldn't be doing that. He is clearly and tells the audience that he's not a hero. He, not to reveal the ending, but he isn't even the one that was chosen. The powers were bestowed upon him by the chosen one, much like how Billy bestows the power of magic to his family. But as we move on, my number 3 pick, Wonder Woman. Very good movie. It was a home run. It's beautiful. It's epic. It feels like it has that oomph to it. Number 2, a beautiful film that is the example of I don't care if you change things as long as your change is for the good. That being Aquaman changing Arthur Curry to be Samoan. Don't even care because it's well executed. It's enjoyable. And yeah, it's a beautiful film. Love Atlantis. It's got great fights, got great visuals. It's number 2 best film. And to the number 1 film, in case you haven't figured it out, it is Shazam! So, that is my ranked countdown of the DC Extended Universe. And after the open, Josiah, Brandon, they'll be here, and we will discuss, well, the DC Extended Universe. So, I gave you my ranking. The boys are here, and before we hear what they have to say, I got some chilling to do. So, I did not love all of the DCU stories, but what story I do love is Everlasting Survivors, Volume 1, all day long. Limited quantities available now at Etsy.com. Thanks, guys.
Back's the same.
Yeah, the back's not the same.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh, actually, everything's the same except the covers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because those were just to show love to both artists that helped make that dream come true.
Beautiful.
And some dreams aren't that good. Like the dream of the DC shared universe. I had such high hopes for, well, I mean, everything. I love Superman. I love Batman.
I'm about to say, all these characters are great.
I love Green Lantern, who only exists in some flashback in an alternate cut that blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
doesn't technically count.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a weird thing where you're like, yeah, Green Lantern's
Green Lantern was there for 5 seconds.
But as I told Josiah while we were waiting on you to arrive, I have, just like I do with comics, I have this headcanon, right? Where I've watched both the theatrical cut and the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, and I only consider Zack Snyder's cut the official, because it's superior in
90% of ways.
Well, I was going to say in getting to the story, right?
Yeah.
And the same goes with his extended cut of Batman vs Superman. In both cases, do I think that they're excellent? No. In both cases, do I think they're great or perfect? No. But they are better than what the original.
They're better than what they put in the theaters.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And it's like that to me is
sad.
Sad's a good word for it, because like if you know, as a company, that you have the capacity to give people a better product and then you choose not to, that feels so wrong to me.
Well, when you have a bunch of money, I don't know if you care.
It's interesting, because to me, I really like Zack Snyder's Justice League a lot. Now, I'm always going to preface this. I'm not sure if I like it a lot because I saw the theatrical version, and I didn't really like that one that much. So
I'll preface it that way. I saw the theatrical version, it was trash, and then I saw the Snyder Cut. I'm like, wow, this is so much better by comparison. I actually like this movie.
Right.
That's pretty much what happened.
I'm not really sure, but to me, with a story that kind of takes a plot points, especially the first half of the movie, and then seeing Zack Snyder, and it does the same exact thing essentially, like minor tweaks here and there.
Yeah.
But then you still keep me engaged for another 2 hours is a feat unto itself. Like, to still, where I watched a 4-hour movie that I already knew what was kind of going to happen, and I didn't get bored. Now, the endings, of course, are vastly different. Which maybe that's why I like it, because I like the Snyder ending.
Sure.
Well,
even for like...
The other thing that was different about those two movies, which was a vast improvement, was one, and don't get me wrong, Gal Gadot's a beautiful woman. I don't need like 20 camera shots of her ass, though.
Oh my goodness.
So the Snyder Cut not doing that and showing how awesome she is as a character was much appreciated.
That's funny.
Also, making Cyborg and Flash, who, as of right now, still don't have their own movies. They seem like such important characters.
Especially Cyborg.
Yeah, especially Cyborg.
Yeah.
If they weren't in the movie wouldn't work. That's how important they were, as opposed to the theatrical cut where
I'm basically pushing a truck.
Yeah. They were set designs.
And Cyborg didn't do
they were about as in they were the shelf. They were there.
Hey, I like that shelf. That's a good shelf.
It's a solid shelf. Don't get me wrong. Nice solid feel. But if it weren't there, you would have something else holding these books.
Right,
that's true.
Right, because the interesting thing about Cyborg is that I knew Cyborg originally from the Teen Titans cartoon show on Cartoon Network. Yeah. That's my first introduction.
That was my first introduction.
So, I like the character, but I didn't really know anything much about his power set. I just thought he was Mega Man with the blaster.
Yeah, it's a sonic cannon, and that's all you needed, right?
But this movie explains it a lot, where it's like, oh, he's essentially a digital god.
Where he can do whatever.
Right, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. But in the theatrical cut, you don't really know his power set.
So, that's true. But so I didn't watch Teen Titans. I still haven't watched Teen Titans. Correct.
Okay.
My big introduction, I knew him from Super Friends. He popped up.
Yeah.
But barely. No, but my big this is who Cyborg is was Justice League, the New 52, written by Jeff Johns, illustrated by Jim Lee, and in that Cyborg was called the Living Internet.
Ooh, okay.
And so
that's actually a great name.
Yeah.
Well, right. Yeah. Well, and it was just a clear way to establish to the new reader what it is he's capable of understanding and how quickly he can get the answers to the problems. I was like, I like that, but also in defense of the Snyder Cut of Justice League, they do a really good job of establishing what he's capable of within it as well. And but yeah, Zack Snyder has a talent. I believe we've all said this before on the channel. He has a talent for listening to what people say and then answering the question. So I said it when I was ranking these. I was like, I don't like that Superman knocked a bunch of buildings down. But then Zack Snyder answered and said, well, here's why. I was like, fine, I guess. I said, I don't like...
We don't have to like the answers, but at least they're answers.
Exactly, that's true, yeah. Just because I don't like the answer doesn't mean you didn't give it to us. But I had the same complaint, or not same, but similar complaint when you killed off Superman in his second appearance. And then they say within...
Damn, that wasn't a second appearance.
Zack Snyder's film, Justice League cut, he explains why that Superman had to die in that film. And I was like, well, at least you gave me a reason. Do I love it? Nah,
No.
but
Yeah.
it's like, at least it exists.
Right.
Like,
And it
if
makes
someone
sense.
asked me, who hasn't watched the movie, why this happened, I could at least tell them, here's in story why this happened.
Yes.
And it makes sense where
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay.
Okay,
You,
I get it.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have done that, but I get it.
Especially that early.
Right.
That was.
And I think that's
I completely forgot it was his second appearance. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that was the second movie he showed up in and he died.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, and as it goes for deaths within the DCEU, there have been so many that I feel like ought not to have happened. Zack Snyder killed the wrong Robin.
Yeah.
Killed off Jimmy Olsen.
Uh-huh.
And when you step away from Zack Snyder, James Gunn killed off Rick Flag, which I found personally insulting. I was like, I
Yes.
really like this guy. What are you doing?
That was one of the few characters from the last Suicide Squad I actually liked.
I was like, I'm with you in this film. As much as I dislike John Cena, Peacemaker,
yeah.
not John Cena the human, but the character that he's portraying. I was like,
I like Peacemaker.
yeah. If you haven't watched it,
Yeah.
go back and watch that.
There will be a queue somewhere to watch this.
If you see my reaction to Spirit, that's pretty much Oz's reaction to Peacemaker.
Yes.
But yeah, so I was fully behind Rick Flag, and then they went and killed him, and I just soured to that film. But I teased it before they got here, so I'm just gonna go full on and say I love Shad Gaspard. I loved him as a wrestler, and I love him even more as a human being. So he had a cameo in the conclusion of Birds of Prey, which should have been called Harley Quinn.
Or at least Harley Quinn.
Or just
the
Quinn,
movie.
maybe, yeah.
Quinn.
Something.
I think the movie should have been called Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey
Right.
instead of
And the Birds of Prey. That's so much better.
because
Yes.
being Birds of Prey, you would think that they were the leads,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
no, she's clearly the lead.
No,
So
she's-
Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
But since they don't get together until halfway through that movie?
Oh, more like 3/4, I'd say.
Quarters
Yeah.
of the way through the
Yeah.
movie.
But
So like the whole focus is Harley Quinn.
Oh, yeah, it's always her.
kind of there.
But yeah, so Shad shows up in the conclusion of the film, and I see his chest tattoo. That's the first. I'm like, that's my boy right there. And then they knock off his mask, and I'm like, yep, that's him.
That's
Like not only does he stop a robbery, he saves his kid from drowning, and then he gets pulled away. It's like this guy,
Yeah.
great wrestler, great. And he also did God of War mocap in one of the games.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, so-
I
okay.
looked it up. I was like, yeah, you're right. He did the huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Viking crazy.
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
But yeah,
I'm
that-
sad
that-
even more.
Just that guy, alone got that movie top 5. But yeah, there's nothing below the top 3 that I can even say. Oh, this
That
that,
was a
the
good
other.
movie.
Yeah, like to me, Wonder Woman, the original, Aquaman, and Shazam are the only ones that I can be like, those are things that I want
I
to
would
rewatch.
rewatch that.
Yes. So because I'm the only one in the room who has watched Black Adam
Mhm.
as of recording.
Yeah.
And it is. It's fine, I guess. It's fine, I guess.
Okay.
Oh,
Like-
so it's not egregiously bad.
No, yeah, and see, that's how it got in the top 5 is just by not being egregiously bad. Like, wow, what praise we have for it.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, to be fair, all these other movies are egregiously bad.
yeah,
so
exactly.
I mean, when
And-
that's your
So that's the crazy thing
Or-
about this ranking is so with the prior one with the MCU when I ranked that, I kept struggling. I was like, oh, do I like this more than that? This one I kept saying, do I dislike this more than that?
Right. Yeah.
Like, so I literally said on one of my iterations of typing up these notes, which pile of crap stinks the least? And I know it's harsh, but part of it is, and I'll say this to everything, not just this ranking, but everything. I think it all depends on your personal investment in the characters. Because, like, I was
You
listening.
know what? That does make sense.
I was listening to some friends talk about how that they were irritated with the idea of Reed Richards being changed to the guy from The Good Place, right? In theory, it hasn't been officially made.
Mhm.
Right.
But then they also, in the same breath, were fine with Hawkman being changed. But it's because they didn't care about Hawkman,
Yeah.
and they did care about Reed Richards.
Mhm.
And when I had that realization, it really made things clear to me as to why that I rank Man of Steel as the least in
As
this
trash.
ra-
You
as,
can call it trash.
as trash in this ranking because he's the one I want to be the best, and they don't deliver that.
Now, to be fair, the casting was immaculate.
It's the story.
Henry Cavill
it's
was
the story.
great as Superman, but the story is so unapologetically bad.
How can Superman be
Superman.
good and
Yeah.
confident in himself when his father wants him to hide?
It doesn't make any sense. And then also, Superman doesn't kill people. At least not right now.
He
Not
shouldn't.
at his start.
And so
But-
I've long said that if you say you have to do the deed, right?
Yeah,
if
right.
you say you have to do it, fly up to do it, because
do an
this-
invincible kill. I guess.
this is the first time the world has seen you. I still don't think you should have to do it, but let's just say that Zack Snyder's like, I must do it.
One person must die in this film.
Fly away, because you don't want the thing that you're advertising. You don't want the big S on your chest to say
the symbol fear.
the symbol of fear. Exactly. You don't want everybody to know, hey, this guy he's lethal.
Mhm.
It just
You don't want to
drives
give
me
credence to all of Lex Luthor's crap.
You're right. Well,
That's
Like,
true.
you can't prove him right
From the
in
beginning.
the first movie.
yeah. Well, so this is the interesting thing because I was someone who loved Man of Steel when it first came out.
Big-
Like
big respect to
legitimately,
you.
legitimately actually liked it. And it was only until repeat viewings that it
You
got
made the
lower.
mistake of watching it again. Okay, that
Lower
makes
and
sense.
lower. Now there are things that I still love about the film. Now to me, is it the worst? I put it second to
What's your worst?
Batman
Suicide
v
Squad. I
Oh,
put it
okay.
as the worst.
It's-
the original
so it's funny-
Suicide
Yeah,
Squad?
the
That's
original.
fair.
The
Okay.
original Suicide
So
Squad.
that's funny to me because I had so little to care
I had
about.
low
Right.
expectations.
So low expectations, and I thought the soundtrack was fun, and I had,
Soundtrack was good,
you know,
yeah.
I was like,
It's colorful.
Here's the
it's
thing.
colorful, yeah.
If you ask me to sit down and give you a list of good Man of Steel things, the only thing I can say, and this is just personal opinion,
Sure.
obviously, the casting of Henry Cavill is great as Superman.
of course.
That's all I got.
Oh well, I'll give Amy
What
Adams
about
credit. I like her.
Amy Adams, yes, I forgot her. She was
Um,
very good.
I like I like the casting of Jesse Eisenberg, which he doesn't show up in this, but I
Yeah.
like him, but not the way he plays the role.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he was cast, I was like, oh my goodness, I've seen this guy be an egomaniac. He's gonna be good at being an egomaniac. But
What was that in? 'Cause
Social
I haven't
Network,
seen that.
The Social Network.
The Social Network?
Yeah.
he's also very high on himself in Now You See Me. Both
Okay.
the,
Yeah, you're
the
right,
original
yeah.
and the sequel.
Yep.
And when I saw, well, not saw, but when I envisioned him playing that type of so
Character.
confident arrogance,
Yeah.
exactly, that I was like, okay, I can get behind this. And then his execution is
Joker.
or Riddler
Ooh.
or like just somebody who's unhinged,
No, not even Riddler. Tim Carrey Riddler. just goofy.
goofy.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was good.
Just goofy.
Yeah.
And I like Jim Carrey.
Yes.
I did.
Of course.
But his Riddler was
Well, everybody who was in the quadrilogy wanted to be Jack Nicholson. It didn't matter if it was Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face or Jim Carrey's Riddler. Everybody wanted to be Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, everyone.
It was
yeah,
like I
literally.
can't help it. I gotta give me some Jack Nicholson.
and when everyone tries to be Jack Nicholson, no one's Jack Nicholson.
Yep, no one can out Jack.
Exactly.
That's
Ain't that the truth? But going back to my original point,
For
so
sure.
like Man of Steel, there's like a handful of things I can say, okay, this is objectively good. At least with Suicide Squad, I can say, okay, Margot Robbie was great in this role.
Mhm.
Okay, the soundtrack is bumping.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling it. Okay, I like Rick Flag.
Yeah, but like I said, the colors, they just pop.
Yeah. Oh well, to me,
Like-
the Man of Steel is the soundtrack. The score
Yeah.
is one of the things that I love about. Like,
Sure.
The dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. It's like it.
Okay.
When you hear it, you know that
Listen.
is the Man of Steel, Superman, or Henry Cavill.
I can
thing.
understand that.
Yeah.
It's-
I'll be honest, I haven't seen Man of Steel since high school, which for me was in like, I graduated in 2017, so 2016 was the last time I watched it.
So I watched it twice in theaters. Much like Brandon, the first time I viewed it, I was
Impressed? Wasn't
well, I was
surprised?
emotionally engaged.
Okay.
It's good words.
But the
Good
but
words.
the problem is the second time I watched it,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't
A little bit more nitpicky.
so I wasn't taken aback by things. I was like, wait a second,
Hold
what
on.
am I seeing here?
One
And
second.
so then I got it as a gift, and I watched it again on DVD, and then the third time I was like, well, I'm not only not impressed, I'm not only questioning, but now I'm like, this is not the man that
Of Steel.
that is an aspirational hero. This
Mm-hmm.
is a man who
this isn't something those little kids will look up to and go, I want to be Superman.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I hope not.
Well, and you know, of course, people when they talk about Man of Steel, they're like, "Well, that's the point. He's just starting out and beginning." It's like, but there's a way to start a character,
There's a lot of his start character.
and it's not. It's the way that he conducts himself is the issue. He is reckless, and I know people are like, "Oh, but that's the point." And it's like, no, you can tell that Zack Snyder didn't understand at that moment
I
who
agree.
is Superman.
So there's a guy named J. Michael Straczynski.
Oh,
He
boy.
wrote Superman Earth 1, which is an origin story, which is a coming of age tale.
Yep.
And that version of Clark, that version of Superman, is what Zack Snyder should have taken
Copied.
from the book and said, oh, wait a second. This guy can both believe in himself, execute things well, and not screw stuff up. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm. Or give more reasons for the reason why. Like for instance, they tried to Batman Begins Man of Steel with the with the flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
But
That's a good call.
it gave for Batman Begins, it gave the reason why Batman went outside the law. You know, he went into the place with the mafia.
Yep.
And Falcone had that brilliant speech. It's like, you're gonna come down here with your anger. You're Bruce Wayne. You can't go 2 blocks without someone finding who the hell you are.
Yeah.
And you know, you hear his monologues where he's like, the first time I had to steal was because I wouldn't starve. But you also saw him give a fruit to a poor child
exactly.
in need. And you saw that he was stealing his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw the reasons why, because the way that he was, the reasons that he was. When the Man of Steel, it just gave the flashbacks without the
Context.
the context of him thinking and the reasons why he was doing the way that he was doing. So that is, to me, the issue, that they tried to Batman Begins it without understanding why it worked for Batman going outside the law and doing things. And plus, it gave Gotham City was a piece of crap.
Yep.
And you could see, like, there needed to be a Batman.
Somebody
like,
needed help.
Yeah, because it was corrupt. Even Ra's al Ghul said it's like every infrastructure that we went through was corrupt. So it was so easy for us to even get there.
We didn't even have to try.
We didn't even have to try, but Batman's like, hey, there are good people here. Everything that Batman Begins gave a reason why there needed to be a Batman, or the way that he acted.
And there was a good reason for it.
Right.
It wasn't just there.
2 things.
Yeah.
1, I love Batman Begins. I'm glad that you're praising it.
He's about to hit it, but
We are going, well, I'm just stopping him because we are going to do
sorry.
an all or nothing for that franchise.
Sorry.
right. Okay. Yeah. I didn't
And
forget
so,
about that.
two, I'm breaking my own thing and saying it just felt so biblical.
Mm.
Ra's al Ghul saying that there's not one good amongst them felt so dang biblical to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like God saying, you know, hey,
I'm
if
gonna
there's any one
flood
good,
the whole world
exactly,
and
yeah,
wash it all clean.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, now, granted, I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. I think Ra's al Ghul, speaking in a biblical sense, feels very Ra's al Ghul to me because he is an eco-terrorist, and he's like...
Also, he's been around long enough. He's probably seen some...
I know, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was just stopping you from praising that thing because we're doing that.
Yeah.
Stop talking about how great Batman is. We're talking about these crap movies.
Yes. But that's the only thing that I could, because they try to do the flashbacks in the beginning.
I totally
and
understand
stuff
where
like
you're coming
that.
from. And here's another thing, which is not getting off that point. But had they tied Man of Steel into the Nolanverse of that Batman Begins, that Dark Knight, that Dark Knight Rises, maybe they could have justified it. But when you step away from what has been proven to be a winning formula, like successful exactly, and move into this new but also old, see, because I was so happy when you talk about casting. I was so happy when Ben Affleck was cast. One of the first things I did when I heard that Ben Affleck was cast is I went to the Google machine and I said, "How old is Ben Affleck?" And when they told he was like 49 or 50.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
When I saw that he was 49 or 50, but
he was that Clooney age when he was Batman.
well, it made me so happy. It made me so excited because I was like, we can get every story I've ever wanted. We can get, because we have.
Yeah, there's a lot of Batman
we
stories.
have Ben Affleck on film at what? 18,
Yeah,
25,
20, yeah.
all of the ages, every age you ever need. So we'll just go take that face, put it on, we'll do
Was
a
he a
face
child
off.
actor too?
Well, what?
No,
No, but he was a young
Never-
adult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so we can just do a face-off gimmick. Instead of it being Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, it'll just be Ben Affleck and Ben Affleck. We'll take young Ben Affleck's face, put it on old Ben Affleck's body,
That's great
and
stuff.
we'll tell all the stories, every story that I want. Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, Barbara Gordon, every one of them. We can get all of them.
Oh, get Jason in there too.
Jason Todd, exactly. Thanks.
Yep.
but and then we get Batman vs Superman, my second most disliked movie on this countdown. We get that movie, and Zack Snyder kills the wrong Robin. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I've said it on the channel, but I know I've said it in real life. I've said it multiple times. You cannot kill Dick Grayson and then have any other Robins, because it's the success of Dick which gives Bruce the strength to carry on when he loses Jason.
Yep.
It's the fact that Dick is there with him, Dick Grayson, to help him make the right decisions when it comes to Tim Drake. It's the success of Tim Drake which then shows Bruce that he can raise his own son, Damian Wayne. But if you kill Dick Grayson from the start, there is no continuing the legacy. There is no Bat family.
Right.
Yeah, because if your first Robin dies, why would you then
Right,
get
you
another
failed.
child? You
Right.
failed.
You're right.
Exactly.
You're not gonna put another child in there.
Right.
It literally goes against
Ridiculous.
Batman's.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, literally.
It's dumb. It's
So-
really dumb.
Yeah, well, we talked a lot of negative. I would like to close this video out with you both telling the fine viewers what is your favorite movie in the DC Extended Universe. You can,
first?
yeah, you can
What
do
a
it.
gentleman. What a gentleman.
Well, technically, I went first before you
Yeah.
did.
All right. Well, listen. All right, we're not gonna remember all that, man. That's so far back in the video. That was like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
So my personal favorite, I really, really, really loved Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Okay.
Like,
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
and I don't know what the combination was that makes me like it so much. I think it was the first time I saw Wonder Woman on like the big screen, I think. So like I was really swept up in the moment.
Yeah, it was grand. It was epic. It was,
it felt important.
monumental. Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm not even a woman, and it felt important to me.
Mhm.
But I really loved the casting of Gal Gadot. I was always a big fan of hers. The characters were really well cast. Everything made some type of sense. Because it's really hard to make God origin stuff make sense and look good in a movie. So I thought they did a really good job with it. Even like Ares, which is like really, really tough to make work. Like that. I felt like they did a really good job making it work.
Absolutely.
Showing Wonder Woman's abilities, what she can do, what she can't do, which I think is more important. It's very it's such a well put together movie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And but yeah, it's really great stuff, which is why Wonder Woman 84 is my least favorite movie.
Okay.
It's
I don't
because
know.
you're disappointed.
It's because they dropped the ball
Yeah.
so hard from what they did so well with it.
Okay. Well, I like that you said that. Brandon already gave his least liked in Suicide Squad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, what was your number one pick in the DC Extended Universe?
It's the same as Oz's.
Yeah,
Shazam.
Shazam!
Shazam.
So the reason why I love Shazam is one, Billy Batson as a character. What he goes through in his arc, it's like, hey, I love reality versus expectations.
Ooh.
You know, he thought his mom was this loving and caring person, and then when he knocks on that door and he finally meets her, and he finally realizes who his family really is, and his mom's like, oh, you know, I just gave that to you because it's like, and he really finally realized, like,
It clicks.
yeah, what's important to you.
Absolutely.
Also, the context of you can become your own hero. And what do I mean by that? I forgot the villain's name.
Dr. Savano.
Yeah, Dr. Savano. You know, they took him from the
the
car accident, and you know, he's like, hey, we're gonna give you this test. Well, he failed, but it's like, can anybody really pass that test? And when he meets Billy Batson, it's like, well, I'm all out of options, and he gives it to him, which is it got to Savano's heart because it's like that was unfair, and you could understand the reasons why he was upset about that, and but to the core, he went about it to try to capture it the wrong way. And then, you know, you see like the bully thing and stuff like that. And I just think that this movie has so much heart and care
Absolutely.
that there's so much more to love. And I'm not even a Shazam fan like that.
I was mad until that movie, to be
Yeah.
fair.
Like the first
All
time I saw
day.
Shazam
All day.
Yeah,
was
Shazam
Justice
guy.
League Unlimited, Superman
Same.
versus Shazam,
Yeah.
and Shazam, and Superman's like,
Yeah.
ah! I was like, that was so cool.
Shazam.
But that was my first introduction, so I didn't
Same.
know much about Shazam.
So one of my
with this
favorite
movie.
books that I've ever read is written by Judd Winnick, and it is Superman Shazam First Thunder. I love Judd Winnick. He's a great writer. If you've never read his work, I recommend this book, obviously, but also Exiles from Marvel, which is a interdimensional traveling mutant book, and his work on Green Arrow, where he marries Black Canary and Green Arrow together.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah, he wrote that stuff.
I
Yeah, Judd Winnick's a great writer, and tons of other great Captain Marvel work. Not the Carol Danvers version.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. Love that movie. It has delivered. My only thing is I really want that sequel. Like, I know it's coming, but like it got postponed, and I was so pumped because
when did it get pushed back to?
it's coming out in March.
March.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, just the minute and change or 2 minutes, however long that trailer was, made me care. I mean, not that I didn't already. I already cared for those characters, but it made me care about them and their development more than most of those prior films on this list did, because it was just that good. Like, I love it.
It really was.
I'll tell you what, I am more excited for the Shazam family than I am for Justice League. So,
yes,
they did a good job of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for coming. I appreciate it very much. And as I said at the beginning of this portion, if you haven't gotten your copy of Everlasting Survivors Volume 1 all day long, thank you. There are limited first printings still available at Etsy.com. They are moving quick, and so get yourself a first printing before they're sold out.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got? 35 left?
Something like that. I think it might be 35, 33, something like that.
Gotcha, in that ballpark.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for watching, and come back next week, and see you next weekend.
Take care, guys.